This video was made possible by EA Game Changers. Hey guys, how you going? This is BillyEatWorld again, and a few days ago I actually caught up with Lossy and TheTacticalBrit to talk about War of Attrition in Battlefield 5, and that's the whole concept that DICE are adding into the new game to limit things like health and ammo regeneration to hopefully improve teamwork. Now, I've got to say, this is something that's been pretty controversial in the community since the alpha, and it's definitely something DICE are really wanting our feedback on. And so that's why we want to help keep the discussion moving. So sit back, enjoy the video, and make sure when you're done to let us know what you think in the comment section down below. Okay, so we're going to start talking about War of Attrition. And I guess probably the main thing that we need to talk about is ammo scarcity. So what do you guys reckon?
I love it.
Yeah?
Not a fan. Not a fan at all.
You're not a fan?
This is gonna be a good conversation.
I just kind of find that, you know, the ammo scarcity thing, it's almost a bit pointless because there's so many different supply points around the map, and there's, you know, enough support players that it almost never feels like you are running out of ammo. Like, I've never really felt the need to sort of seek ammo out. I will always run past one. Like, there's almost nearly an ammunition point on every single capture flag, so I don't really see the point of it.
Okay, so let's just clarify. So you're not opposed to the idea of ammo scarcity. You just prefer it would be more scarce?
Yeah, I think, like, if you're going to do it, you either do it or you don't do it. And at the moment, they've sort of got this sort of half in, half out attitude where there's, like, ammo boxes everywhere, but you technically still have scarce ammo, but you don't if you can press E at any given point, you know?
Mm.
And Lossy, you reckon you like it?
I like it, but I agree with that point. Like, it isn't implemented perfectly, but the idea of it and where it could go is pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a really, really good idea. I mean, it makes you think as soon as you spawn in, you know, like you're not just immediately running and gunning from the moment that you're in the game. You actually have to kind of think about what you're going to do. Do you guys remember in the Gamescom beta, was there actually, are you limited to begin with?
Yeah, I think
do you remember in the previous builds, like you actually had less mags to begin with? Is that still the thing?
Yeah, I think you start with 2 mags, 1 in your gun, 1 spare, and then effectively, well, at least for the assault rifle, the STG, you had 1 in your gun, 1 spare, and then you had to pick up another 1 or another 2.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You see, I didn't like that.
Oh, okay. You didn't like that. I actually thought that was pretty cool.
No, because, like, Grand Operations, Narvik, everyone just goes for the ammo depot as soon as they spawn.
Yeah, okay.
It's
you
almost,
shouldn't have to do that.
Yeah, it's almost as though, like, the ammo depots have become their own objective points, and, like, I think I mean, I appreciate the idea, but if you're fighting over ammunition points more than you're fighting over, you know, basic things like capture points, I think it could get very messy if it's not done carefully.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I guess in defense of that, I suppose probably the easiest way to solve that is to make sure that the capture points are where the ammo is, if that makes any sense. So you can't, like, there's not just random ammo crates just out in the middle of the map.
Yeah, and put them in, like, logical positions as well that require sort of either some risk reward or just some general thought when you go for the ammunition. I think that's the best way, in my opinion.
Okay. So what about vehicle ammo? Because, I mean, I don't really drive vehicles. Did you guys try out the tanks or anything in the Gamescom beta?
Yeah, I actually have, like, I went full-blown and had, like, a 3-game streak on a tank. I tried all the ones they had, the sort of light tank, the medium, and the heavy. And I actually really like the system they have for ammo scarcity on vehicles. I think it's a really intelligent idea.
Mm-hmm. I like it too.
So how did you actually replenish the ammo on the vehicles? Because I know that there was certain points that you had to go and pick it up, but I don't think I actually figured that out.
Yeah,
effectively,
there's like an ammo.
Yeah, there's like there's a big ammo crate, effectively, one at base, and I think on the Rotterdam map they also had one by Alpha, and you sort of have to use the self-repair button within that range, and then you get ammunition instead of health. But you know, it made a lot of sense purely because, like, you know, there was never a tank that could just, you know, once I fired 20 shots, whether it was to blow up a wall or kill a person or take out another vehicle, you know, I had to keep going back, and I really like that because I felt like I mean, you'll remember the days of Battle for Goldman Railway, like people just tank sniping across the map for the entire game.
Just camp up on the hills.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, well, that's interesting. Because like I
Planes
said,
are a little
I mean,
bit different, though.
Yeah.
Okay.
Planes require you to like fly into a zone that will be visually seeable on the HUD, like a circle in the sky, and you sort of have to do loop-de-loops and hold the same button.
Yeah.
See, I'd prefer them to have to like kind of like, you know, tactically crash land right next to the ammo crate. And then then somehow like catapult off it. No, not really, of course.
Yeah.
You know, that's you know, it kind of seems, you know, that in everything else they're trying to go for this like physicality, and yet the planes just have to fly around a certain point. It doesn't seem legit. You know, I feel like, you know, is it I'm just trying to think, because War Thunder, you know, for example, to capture points you actually have to land the plane.
Yeah.
You know.
Well,
it'd be interesting if they could make it so that to actually replenish your ammo in a plane, you did have to land it. But, I mean, there's not, like, we didn't see any runways or anything like that.
Wasn't that a thing, though? Didn't all the map designers say runways aren't going to be in Battlefield 5 at all?
Yeah, they effectively said, like, that if they built runways on every map, A, it wouldn't make a lot of sense in terms of the map design, that there'd just be, like, some random runway in the middle of Rotterdam, for example, or some other map. Or B,
yeah, of course.
It just wouldn't make sense in the sense that they'd be using a lot of map assets on something that was only used for one vehicle that isn't necessarily always spawned in.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so I guess the take home from those last 2 points is that vehicle ammo scarcity is okay, but maybe just infantry ammo scarcity maybe needs a little bit more work. Is that right?
Yeah, it just needs some more intelligence, I think, is the best way to think about it.
Okay. And then obviously the other part of War of Attrition, I should say, is health regen. So what do you guys think about that?
Again, it just needs to be communicated to the player better. What they have in place now is it's just messy. You regen to a certain percentage, and you mightn't know what that percentage is. So it, like, for me, like, if they had a better health bar, it would make things so much simpler. Like something like Battlefront 2, where you know you can regen to this point and you can't go past this certain point. Like, say 3 health bars.
Yeah,
You lose,
I mean, that's
you lose
pretty
a health
standard
bar.
though, right? Like 3 health bars is pretty standard in most games. You know, most games these days have some sort of regenerating health, but only to a certain point. And then once you lose a full bar, you can't go back past that again. Yeah, just makes me wonder why they didn't do that from the start. So
I think it was something that was like quite heavily put across in feedback at Gamescom and also in the alpha, but like it does need to be there. I'm okay with health attrition. I actually quite like it, because I think, you know, you go into an engagement and you lose health and you have to think about what you're doing before you get into the next one. But I think the frustration is like, I don't know whether I'm healing up to like 50, 70, 40.
Exactly.
And because of that, I'm constantly trying to search for health more than I probably should do, because I just simply don't really know what's going on.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
And what do you guys think of the self-heal pack? Do you think that's a cool mechanic? Because that's not always been in the game.
No, that's only a new thing.
In the previous builds, it's only just something that's currently come in. I mean, personally, I was just saying to you guys before we started the recording that I didn't actually know that was a thing until people actually started telling me, you know, there's like a self-heal pack. You don't just like heal up anymore. Yeah. And honestly, I thought that's kind of weird. I mean, I can understand it in the sense that they're trying to make everything a little bit more physical. Like, for example, if you want to get, you know, health or ammo out of an ammo crate, you actually have to bend down and pick it up and input a key to be able to do that. But I don't know, I just thought the self-heal pack was kind of, it's something that most players aren't going to realize to begin with, and that might sort of put off new players a little bit.
I think it's there for the lone wolf kind of player. And like, the obvious question from a lot of the comments on videos and such is, will this take away from the medic class? And the answer is, yeah, you can heal yourself. You don't need a medic. But like, it's not that you don't need a medic. It's just it encourages you to, you know, play your own way. You can go off on your flank on your own. You don't have to go with a squad. Because like, you saw how angry people got when the whole lone wolf mentality of gameplay was like just completely gotten rid of in the first alpha. Like, the amount of comments people were like, oh my god, I can't just flank the enemy team now. What if I have like 10% health? I can't just flank and take out the entire enemy team. I have to have a stupid medic who's not going to heal me. It's kind of like, yeah, that's fair enough. So that's what this self-heal is for.
I think they've reached a really nice middle ground, because like the self-heal allows that sort of solo play, and you didn't really get that in the alpha. You did have to stick really tightly to a medic or some kind of pack.
It was forcing team play, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah. And I think the nice thing is as well is that now that the medic has an inherent syringe and it isn't a gadget, like, although they have lost a little bit of an ability because people can heal themselves effectively when they want in some places, they have the ability to always revive anybody now, so it's not really as large a concern.
Yeah. And, like, we have to keep in mind, how many times are you going to have to heal per life? It's not just going to be one health pack. You're probably going to need maybe 5 or 6, depending on how good you are at the game. So, like, those times after you use your own self-heal, you're going to be like, okay, I've used my self-heal. Now I need to actually get help from a medic. And
Can you replenish self-heal?
Yeah, with the medkit stations.
Yeah, you go up to ammo. You interact and you get a spare.
But, like, you don't spawn in with them, I believe?
No, you don't. You don't spawn in. You pick one up and it's like, oh, here's an extra pack, and then you lose that pack if you use it at any given point. You have to find either a medic crate or a sort of supply medic box thing. And once you've used that, you get your health back up and then you get given a spare. But I think, it does let people lone wolf a bit more, and it kind of plays more into a truer Battlefield play style as opposed to sort of the kind of Force style that was seen in the alpha.
Yeah. Yeah. I like it. I think it's good.
I guess my only issue with it was that it's not obvious from the outset that that's a feature, and also it's not obvious when you're getting one. You know, in some games you can tell that there's a medkit feature, for example, because it makes it really obvious when you can see it on the ground. You know, like, for example, like old style shooters like from the 90s and stuff, you know, first aid kits were always like white, like big white boxes with a big red cross on it, and you knew that was the first aid kit, and when you picked it up you knew you could use that later on. And it just seemed like, you know, you can see the little medkit like icon down the bottom, but it's just not really obvious to me. Do you know what I mean? It's not a different color to the rest of the HUD, so, you know, it's hard to tell whether you've got one or whether you don't in the heat of the moment. So yeah, I'm just wondering if they could make it look a little bit more obvious and make it more obvious that you can pick up, like, for example, I would like the medic to be able to actually drop the first aid kits for other people to be able to pick up, and you could see them on the ground or something like that. Or for example, like it is in Halo, where, you know, you can see the med kit hanging on the wall, and then when you pick it up, it goes away. So, you know, something like that.
I think a lot of the HUD in terms of health does need just better explanation. Like the little med kit spare med box thing is like the size of your pinky finger at best, and it
is ridiculously small.
You know, and there's no indication, because like it's one animation. They tried giving you like an animation where you hold the pack in front of you, like to try and tell you that you've been given a med kit, but it doesn't give you an indication that you actually have a spare as well. So it's really confusing.
It's the same animation for picking a med pouch up as it is to using it.
Yeah.
So, like, even if it was something subtle, like wrapping a bandage around your arm, like something silly like that.
Yeah.
It would show you're healing yourself.
Get Far Cry style animations where you, like, you know, jack a bullet out of your hand or something. That'd be quite cool.
Yeah. And like imagine you stuck a syringe in you or something, just something like that. Just so you're healing yourself rather than just picking up an ammo pouch.
Yeah, right. So, I mean, just to finish up, I suppose, ammo scarcity needs a little bit of work. Vehicle ammo, pretty good so far.
10 out of 10.
Yeah. And maybe health regen is a good thing, and self-heal pack obviously is a good thing. They just probably need to indicate it a little bit better.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Yeah, interesting. But anyway, guys, that just about wraps up this video. So make sure you let me know what you think in the comments, and if you like what you see, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Also, if you want to see more of this sort of content, make sure you don't forget to check out Lossy and TheTacticalBrit as well. And of course, until next time, see you later and have a good one.